Hello, Stitchers. Welcome to Stitch Please, the official podcast of Black Women Stitch, the sewing group where Black Lives Matter. I'm your host, Lisa Woolfork. I'm a fourth-generation sewing enthusiast with more than 20 years of sewing experience. I am looking forward to today's conversation, so sit back, relax, and get ready to get your stitch together. Hey friends, hey, it's Lisa from Black Women Stitch and the Stitch Please podcast, and happy 2025. I am so glad to begin the year with you. This is a fantastic start. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate y'all being willing to start your year with Black Women Stitch and the Stitch Please podcast. The first episode of the year is a Sankofa episode. And this is an opportunity to reflect. And I call it Sankofa because of the association with what it means to return and what it means to look back at the past to learn lessons that can carry you into the future. So Sankofa episodes allow us to do this. And I'm going to give you a little bit of background on the meaning and philosophical significance of Sankofa. It is an expression in the Twi language of Ghana, whose literal meaning is go back and get it. It is actually a fusion of the two words in the Akan second person imperative sentence, Sankofa. These are two different words. And when you put them together, it means that. And the translation is, it is not taboo to go back and get something after you have forgotten it. More literally, it means if you forget and you go back and get it, there's nothing wrong with that. So it allows us to look at the past, to examine the past, and to pick up what we need and what we forgot we even had. And I think that's a wonderful spirit with which to start a new year. So happy 2025. There are two Sankofa symbols. The Akan language also has ideograms, or I'm not sure if that's the right word for it, but it's when you have images that represent words or ideas. And this one is what this word Sankofa has two ways that it's stylized. One is a bird, and the bird is looking backwards over its shoulder with its feet planted forward, and it's turning its head. Sometimes it has an egg in its mouth or something in its mouth, looking back as if it's just picked up something, that little egg or whatever that was in the past, and it's bringing it with it toward the future. And so I thought that's a really powerful symbol, I think. And the second one is a stylized heart, where there are these loops that go inside it. And it works really cool. I'm getting information about this from the adinkrasymbols.org, which I believe is university sponsored. And so this is what they have to say about the symbols. The two different symbols that both represent Sankofa, the more popular one is the bird with a contorted neck, but the other one, which looks more like a conventional symbol for the heart, is also used. This figure is symmetrical about a vertical axis, with each half spotting two spirals, one at the top and the other at the bottom. And they talk about the spirals and how it starts to represent going around, but ending up at a point, like presumably the source. So I thought that was really cool how they read what the symbol meant. It is a mirror image of a heart, and that they are going on these two separate paths, but they are also the one single thing. It's really cool. I'll see if I can find an image of that. For this episode, I wanted to think about three elements that I think are important to carry forward from the past and into the present, which is also the future for 2025. And I divided it up into thinking about collaboration, community, and celebration. And that is something that I believe I would like to that I think that I really benefited from that in 2024, and I would like to carry that forward into 2025. And the first way I think about this is immense gratitude for the Stitch Please podcast and immense gratitude for the people that work to support it. The team that helps me put on the show, the listeners that give me their generous ear every week. people that support the show financially, individuals, people that are generously giving on Patreon or through ActBlue, the different organizations that have been supportive. All of this is something I am very grateful for and immensely just filled to the top with gratitude for this kind of wonderful support. It really helps me feel less alone, and it gives me a lot of confidence to pursue ideas that I might not otherwise pursue if I didn't feel I had folks who were willing to step in and help as needed. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Collaboration has also been an important element for 2024. It was really a time for me to learn about podcasting in different ways, and I'm very grateful to AIR, the Association of Independents in Radio, for selecting me as a fellow for the New Voices Fellowship Program. I got to work with podcasters who did things like I didn't even know that much about, like narrative fiction podcasts, creative nonfiction podcasts, people that are, working in different parts of the world and different parts of the country, and just getting a bit behind the scenes of how these things get made and just the amazing creatives that are behind them. And it allowed me to get to know people that I had seen at conferences, but to get to know them and learn about their work and, it was very nice. And it's really hard, I think, sometimes to make friends as adults. And so this was another opportunity to have these really meaningful and interesting connections that are really just, good for your heart. They really are. And it's people that kind of understand some of the things that you're going through because they've gone through them too, or they're going through them right now. And even if they don't have it figured out, at least you don't have to feel so alone while you're also trying to figure it out. And that was a really beautiful feeling. The podcasters that helped to make that happen. I am just very grateful for that. Similarly, I got a chance to attend the IMI, which is an Institute for Independent Media, and they had a wonderful conference, and I was able to attend it thanks to Radiotopia PRX, which had a contest and selected me as one of two winners that got to go and do that. And that was another just amazing level and layer of creativity and connection, and remain really grateful for. So we never stop learning, as artists and creatives, like you just keep growing and you keep going. And sometimes you can see that growth from a mile away, and other times it's a lot more internal. But in any case, I am really grateful for it. And for those who helped to make that happen, I say thank you. We had a really great year in 2024 with awards and features, and it was something that I was very much taken aback by, and still, of course, remain grateful for. We won an Ambie Award in March of 2024, and then, which is really fantastic. It's like a top tier award. It was, I was so surprised and just honored to be kind of considered and thought of that way, and just so grateful um, to the Podcasting Academy, very grateful to Crystal Hill and Mike Brown for all their support, like just so overwhelmingly grateful. And then that started to beget to generate or be manifest as other awards. So we ended up with three Black Podcasting Awards, which, there was a time when I could not get a Black Podcasting Award. I was like, I couldn't fit in any of the categories. And it was definitely a long time coming. I did win an award back in 2023 for Best Blurred Podcast because they had created that category and I was able to be part of that. But in 2024, I was able to be recognized as an arts podcast, best arts podcast, best fashion and beauty podcast, and podcaster of the year. Like, whoa, it just hit me very hard. It really hit me very hard in the best of ways, because it always feels nice to be honored by the people who mean the most to you when you're creating it. You know, I think the idea that Black Podcasting Awards appreciated and recognized the work as something useful and good just felt really beautiful to me. We won a Signal Award as well, which also felt really special. It felt really special because back in 2023, we had won a silver award. And then last year in 2024, we won gold. And so we had a gold award and a listener's choice. And it just felt very beautiful and very affirming. And that was a very nice, just a nice thing. Just a nice thing, y'all. Oh. Hey, friends. Hey, I know you're enjoying the audio version of Stitch Please, and thanks so much for listening. But you're missing out on all the great stuff going on behind the scenes. That's why I'm inviting you to join our Black Women Stitch Patreon. For as little as $5 a month, you can see all the video versions of the podcast. Plus, you get some amazing swatch cards. You know how much I love these swatch cards. Look, see how cool these are? Oh wait, you can't see them because you are not yet on the Patreon. So when you join the Patreon, you'll be able to see this, me showing you these amazing cards. We also have some great perks at the other tiers, like discounts, swag, office hours, and more. Don't be the last sewist in the group now. Head over to patreon.com/blackwomenstitch or click the link in the show notes and become a Patreon supporter today. We truly cannot do this without you. So thank you so much. Special shout out to content creators of color, who is a wonderful collection of Black creatives doing amazing things, running amazing projects and shows and networks. And it has been a blessing to be connected with that group and to kind of learn and grow alongside them and to celebrate their many wins. And I'm just so grateful for them and their support in 2024. I also wanted to take a pause and to share my love and gratitude for the people that we lost in 2024. There were some Black women in my life who were so foundational and structural and meaningful to the Black Women Stitch Project and to me as a human person, to help me to learn, to help me to be brave, to help me in just so many wonderful and beautiful ways. And I want to say that I am grateful for their love, for their friendship, and to speak their names as those beloved friends and comrades and artists who became ancestors in 2024. There will be an episode and future discussion in 2025. But for now, I just want to say I love you and thank you to Sarah Bond, to Carol Lau Shaw, and to Jill Bates Moore for loving me and for being a friend and a companion on this heart's journey. And I am immensely grateful. To wrap up today's episode, I want to think about what I want to take into 2025 that I forgot to even bring in 2024. So I'm going back, not way back in the time back, but I am going to go back and look at what in 2023 that I found helpful that I didn't do in 2024. And I had to interrogate, I had to sit down and say, why are you not doing this? Why are you not doing this? There was actually something in 2023 that I needed to do and still didn't do. And I had to realize, I think it was fear. So let me back up a bit. What I want to bring into 2025 that I didn't do in the past that I, in some ways, wish I had done, but also had done, but didn't was too afraid to think about the consequences. All of it to say is this: writing it down. Write it down. Write it down. Make a note. I think it's the Old Testament of the Bible that has Habakkuk saying, write it down and make it plain, or write down the vision and make it plain. There are other cultures, I am sure, that use the idea of writing affirmations down in some way, um, as a way to remind oneself, as a way to document. That is something I would like to do. I keep a lot of my ideas in my head. I keep them in my heart. I keep them places that sometimes um, I forget. Or what sometimes happens is, oh, no, no, I don't write it down because what if I don't do it and then I'll feel really bad? And I don't think that's as reasonable a fear as I imagine it to be. I have definitely found old notebooks, old notes, and things that I have written years and years ago that have happened. Oh, I would love to do a fill in the blank, and I've done the fill in the blank. I would love to talk to so and so, and I have talked to so and so. Like, these are not threats. These are invitations. These are things that you can work towards. These are how, as I'm imagining it for myself. I'm not trying to be prescriptive here or tell you this is what you need to do. This is something that I am speaking for myself as something I would like to do and like to try. I do understand and believe in the power of the written word. I am someone who writes. I am a writer. I am a writer. I am currently writing. Um, in the process of currently writing right this very second. Writing either documents to support other people, writing articles, revising, and writing a couple of books. So, like, I am in the process of it. So, it's not like I don't believe in it. But what I believe is also helpful for me is having written plans. Written plans help your girl immensely. Written plans are good for me, especially when, of course, I am writing them myself. I am great with a to do list. I take that seriously. There was a time when I felt most, I think, happy about how I was using my time was when I was using a planner very regularly. So regularly that I could put things down in the monthly calendar or the look forward, the weekly calendar, and just glance at it and be like, oh, yes, that's what I was doing this week. Oh, that's right. I said I'm going to do that today. And it just really helped me. And then I stopped doing it for, I don't know, to bring more chaos into my life. I have no idea. But one of the things that I am going to bring into 2025 is writing it down, making it plain, working with a planner. I have one that I like that I use all the time. And then I have one that is more task oriented. And I believe I'm going to start 2025 with a task oriented one to help put me on a good track for the first quarter of the year. So that is something I'm very excited by. I'm also thinking about, as I work with my planner, to be led by curiosity, to be led by wonder, to allow myself to say, what could happen? What could happen, as opposed to what has to happen? I'm not saying that I'm not committed to the outcome, but I think I am saying that I would like to enjoy the process a lot more. And I think that's something I can absolutely do. And the way that I tend to do that is to have things planned out in advance, writing things out, saying, this is the thing that I want to do, this is the goal that I have, and this is the way that I'm going to go about it. And that's something I can do. That is something I can do. And I'm looking forward to that. Other things that I've put down, like, just try it, just see what happens. And when I've done that, I've gotten good results just to try it. That's felt nice. And then I want to work on exploring this as a principle. And it comes from a friend who learned it from her therapist. And it's such a beautiful phrase. And it's this: how good are you going to let it get? How good are you going to let it get? I love this as a mind shift change, as a way to say, what are you doing and how are you getting in your own way? Are you helping yourself or are you harming yourself? Are you erecting barriers based on your own fears? Do you have a fear of success or do you have a fear of failure? How is all of that at work? And for me, that phrase, that question, how good are you going to let it get, gives me the chance to pause and recalibrate how I am planning the things I am planning. It helps me to recalibrate my approach, and that feels fantastic. It feels fantastic. So that is what I will leave you with as a way to help you get your stitch together for 2025, and how I'm going to help myself get my stitch together. You know, the slogan of the Stitch Please podcast is we will help you get your stitch together. So I'm asking myself, hey, Lisa, yes, how are you going to get your stitch together for 2025? I am going to ask myself, how good are you willing to let it get? How good are you going to let it get? That's what I'm going to ask myself. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. We will see you next time. And happy 2025. You've been listening to Stitch Please, the official podcast of Black Women Stitch, the sewing group where Black Lives Matter. We appreciate you joining us this week and every week for stories that center Black women, girls, and femmes in sewing. We invite you to join the Black Women Stitch Patreon community with giving levels beginning at $5 a month. Your contributions help us bring the Stitch Please podcast to you every week. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. And come back next week and we'll help you get your stitch together.